I love stories like her. During the COVID thing, she was trying to run a couple small businesses, including a food truck, got shut down by COVID, found herself unemployed. So she ran for the House of Delegates and she won. Did it the old fashioned way, knocking on doors, walking her district. Now she's in a new district trying to run for reelection. We'll keep you updated. Good on you, Kayla Young. Good luck in the general election. More her tell coming up next.
This show is also sponsored by Dr. Tony Maglione. Dr. Tony is a cardiologist practicing in Wilmington. He accepts Medicare patients, and his office is located across the street from New Hanover Regional Medical Center at 2032 17th Street. The office number is 202-1071. Dr. Tony is an author whose last book is Rules for Conservative Patriots, and it can be purchased on Amazon. His website is www.drtonymag.com.
There has never been a better time to go to college. Class of 2021 high school graduates, you don't want to miss this. You may be eligible to have your tuition and fees covered at Cape Fear Community College for 2 years, beginning this fall through the North Carolina Longleaf Commitment Grant. This is money that does not need to be repaid and covers tuition toward a degree or towards transfer credit to a 4-year school. This is your chance to make it happen at CFCC for free. Find out more at cfcc.edu/NCGrant.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi. I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
Well, before I left my campsite, I was putting out my fire, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear showed up and hugged me?
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. He likes it when people correctly put out their campfires. He's pretty big on wildfire prevention. He's just letting you know you did good. With a hug. He's a hugger.
I just got a bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update!
All right, I'm going to let you go now. I've got a lot of ranger stuff to do. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Welcome back to Heard Tell. We always end on a little bit of a lighter note. Some good news, usually something involving charity work, things like this. We got to cover a lot of heavy topics. So let's go to the NFL. First round pick, Kayvon Thibodeau. This is from ESPN. Will be wearing the number 5 with the New York Giants, who drafted him a few weeks ago. The same number he wore as a unanimous All-American before being the 5th overall selection out of the University of Oregon last month. The problem? Veteran kicker Graham Gano already had that number. So in the NFL tradition, he had to cough up for it to the tune of $50,000. It cost him $50,000 to get it from the veteran kicker. The positive for Thibodeau is this money will all be going to charity. The two agreed on donating it to Puppies Behind Bars, which provides service dogs to wounded war veterans and first responders, in addition to explosive detection canines to law enforcement. Gano comes from a military family. His dad served in the Navy for 30 years. I feel like it's where the money that Kayvon was donating would be able to make the largest impact and help the most people. Throughout him giving that money, he told the Giants website, the whole idea behind the number 5 being special to myself and being special to Kayvon will be able to help 5 people get 5 dogs and be able to make an impact in 5 people's lives for the better. Again, it's jersey number 5 that they're arguing over. This is the whole goal behind that, and I'm really excited about it. Thibodeau joked at his introductory news conference that it would take a lot of zeros to get the number from Gano. After all, the former Giants safety Jabril Peppers was unable to pry it away from him previously, who says he wears that number because he has 5 kids who range from 10 to 2 years old. It's funny, you guys just know this is real now. We're talking real numbers, he said with a laugh. When you tell somebody 250, I don't know what 250 means. You forget all the zeros behind it. Things are a lot different now. But yeah, he's a great guy, and we obviously are going to build a good relationship. And I'm really excited to get to work with football to talk to him about it, and the money's going to charity. Cool story. It's a cool tradition in the NFL. The veterans get the numbers. Doesn't matter how good the new guy is. He's got to pay up, show the respect, and a very, very worthy cause. Working dogs, guide dogs, and explosive finding dogs are invaluable to many people. That'll do it for Heard Tell. Thank you so much for watching and or listening. If you're on the podcast, if you're watching on the YouTube page, make sure you subscribe. That way you don't miss a single thing we do. Heard Tell every weekday, the Good Talk interview segments every afternoon, twice on Sunday recap show, the deep dive podcasts. There's 36 of them. Make sure you go through and watch and listen every single one of them, and you won't miss anything coming up. Got some good stuff planned, promise. And it's all because of you folks. You supported us, and we thank you so very, very much. So until we see you again, wherever you and yours are, across the street or around the world, we hope you are well. We hope you are well fed. And we'll talk to you tomorrow for more Heard Tell.
All the music on Heard Tell is provided under a Creative Content license from monstercat.com.
Bringing you the best local talk radio shows, Wilmington's Big Talker 106.7 FM, WFBT, Carolina Beach. Here's 1 minute of tree knowledge in 30 seconds with K.O. Davis.
It's important that you have somebody, a trained professional, to trim your trees. There are these guys out there that just hack trees, and that's the worst thing in the world that you can do. Don't let somebody hat rack your trees. That's a tree term for hat rack. You know how they just cut a tree and it looks like it's just got like a hat rack? These guys just go up and just cut the trees off, and they don't cut it back to the proper spot. Call us, because we care about your trees.
Visit KO's coasttocoasttree.com.
Don't let some yahoo hat rack your trees.
Acoustic wave therapy at the Frank Institute is a revolutionary treatment for inflammation, issues of blood flow, and is a solution for the constant suffering of chronic pain. Through the localized transmission of sound waves, stem cells are stimulated to bring about restored blood flow, vascular regeneration, and the disbursement of pain receptors to affected areas. If you've been told that your issues could not be treated without surgery or prescription, give us a call. Non-invasive, non-surgical, and prescription-free. Acoustic wave therapy is only available at the Frank Institute. Call today, 910-679-8534, and ask about acoustic wave therapy.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. A member of the Wilmington City Council has been charged with a DWI in Brunswick County. According to an arrest warrant from the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office, Charlie Rivenbark was arrested and charged with DWI around 1:45 Wednesday morning in Leland. His blood alcohol level was 0.11. The legal limit is 0.08. According to the arrest warrant, Rivenbark allegedly unlawfully and willfully drove on the right side of the highway and failed to maintain lane control. Cape Fear Public Utility Authority customers will have to pay more for monthly water and sewer service. Under a new budget, the average residential customer's monthly bill will increase by $5.39, the first such increase in 4 years. The Utility Authority wants Comores to pay for PFAS removal in our water, but is having to sue the company for that to happen. We asked if customers would be reimbursed for the rate increase or if they would see lower rates in the future after the suit, but there is no clear answer. A suspect has pleaded guilty to hitting and killing a bystander in New Hanover County during a high-speed chase in 2019. Thomas Willoughby Jr. pled guilty yesterday afternoon to second-degree murder, robbery with a dangerous weapon, a hit-and-run causing death, DWI, and several other charges. He led police on a chase in 2019, hitting a Jeep and killing 51-year-old Sean Evans. Willoughby has been sentenced to at least 30 years in prison. He apologized to Evans' family in court. Evans' sister says she was surprised by his remarks. North Carolina hospitals are ranking best in the nation on a hospital safety report from the Leapfrog Group. The biannual Leapfrog Hospital Safety Grade assigns grades based on how well nearly 3,000 general hospitals perform on more than 30 measures of patient health and safety. North Carolina came in first place with the highest percentage of A-scoring hospitals. 2 local hospitals made high marks. New Hanover Regional Medical Center scored a B, and Novant Health Brunswick Medical Center got an A. For more on these stories, you can head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with your Storm Track 3 forecast. Finally, some much-needed rainfall in the Cape Fear with some light to moderate rainfall throughout the day today. Not expecting anything widespread. Rain odds no higher than 40% for your Thursday. And our high temperatures climb into the middle 70s for both coastal and inland communities, with north winds holding steady at about 10 to 20 miles per hour. As we head into the overnight hours, more scattered showers in store for us, mostly cloudy skies, and temperatures dropping down into the low to middle 60s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by Two Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to twomenandatruck.com. twomenandatruck.com.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Justin Humphreys from the Humphreys Law Firm on Eastwood Road. Tune in Thursdays from 6 to 7 p.m. for Objection to the Form, covering civil litigation, real estate issues, and intellectual property. That's Objection to the Form, Thursdays 6 to 7 p.m. right here on the Big Talker 106.7 FM.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey kids, welcome back to the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad. Thursday morning, yes, I'm dragging my feet. Late night last night with original singers-songwriters, and a lot of good music, a lot of effort put into it. Almost sounds like a gunfight in the streets out there, doesn't it? No, that's just the stuff that I don't have to pay for. It keeps us safe with the YouTube people. Anyway, the Asylum is part of the Big Talker Network. Please visit bigtalker.live to get more information on the shows that you love. Maybe not this one, but certainly Heard Tell and Consumer Choice, Guns, Politics, Freedom, All Things Brunswick, and more coming on board. So, there's a lot going on, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. Let's see, the app for the Android and iOS devices is unparalleled in its coolness. Right, everything that the Big Talker does available right there on your fingertips. If you didn't catch the show last night, or any of the shows that we carry on the Big Talker, just visit the good old YouTube's page or the Facebook's page. And I think even the twits and tweets and whatever those things are is active as well. I got giggled at the other day for not having a Twitter account. It's like, well, I thought only, famous, cute people had Twitter accounts. Right? I mean, I don't ever see myself at the level of, Kim Kardashian that I need to reach 1 million people. I don't think I could get the 5 people in my family interested. So, yeah, I'm probably not going to be doing the tweets, but the station does. Because we're for everybody of all ages, so if you're just used to enjoying the radio, we stream right to the internet radio into your ear holes. If you want video, if you want fingertips, you want YouTubes, you want tweets, whatever, we got you covered. Let's see, there's an email link on there, so you can send us any compliments, questions, concerns, critiques, or comments. We can't improve without your feedback. Yeah, dragging it a little bit this morning. Because it was late night and I'm still up at, Andrew helped me out by having a show ready when I got home and did all the surgery I needed to distribute that content properly this morning. And here we are, sucking on coffee and hoping the day doesn't implode before I get started. Ooh. So, just for fun, we're going to turn our attention to a story by Zoe Satile of CNN. Satile? Y'all got weird last names. That's why I stopped using mine. Anyway, from CNN. This would be the result of not very good education in America. A Massachusetts family thought they rescued a stray puppy. Aww. Turned out to be a coyote. Again, not the most brilliant species on the planet. A Massachusetts family was surprised to learn that a lost puppy they rescued was in fact a baby coyote. The male pup was found wandering and distressed on the side of the road, according to a Facebook post from Cape Wildlife Center. Concerned for its safety, the family picked up the pup in their car, but shortly afterwards they realized it might not be a dog after all. Okay. After realizing their mix-up, they called us for assistance, said the Wildlife Center, part of the New England Wildlife Center, a nonprofit that provides free veterinary care to around 5,000 animals per year. Zach Mertz, the executive director of the Cape Wildlife Center in Barnstable, told CNN that it is not uncommon to see coyote and fox pups wandering around during this time of the year. The pups are just getting to the age where they start to explore away from their families. It's unclear if this pup had just wandered too far from his family or if his mother had been injured or killed. Staff at the center were able to very quickly identify it as a coyote because they're educated. And he was definitely still at an age where he should have been with his parents, Mertz said. The pup, thought to be around 5 to 6 weeks old, was cleared for rabies and given its first round of vaccinations. The Wildlife Center will temporarily raise him alongside a female coyote pup between 3 and 4 weeks old who was recently transferred to the Wildlife Clinic of Rhode Island. Raising the pup alongside a foster sibling is crucial because of the social nature of coyotes. One of the best things you can do for a young pup that's lost his family is at least provide a sibling of similar age. That is because if we do our job right and stay hands-off, that sibling is going to be the model and they can learn as much as they can from each other. He said that the center's staff try to come into contact with the coyotes as little as possible so the canines don't associate humans with food and retain as much of the natural upbringing as possible. They also work to simulate the coyote's natural environment by decorating their large enclosures as naturally as we can and providing food and climbing challenges that help them practice the types of behaviors they would need in the wild. Staff plan to introduce the two pups in around a week once the female pup has grown slightly larger. If all goes well, the two pups will spend around 6 months in the center before being released into the wild in mid-autumn. Mertz said anyone who spots a baby coyote or other animal alone in the wild should know its parents might be nearby, so contact the local wildlife department before intervening. Mertz said, "We ask that you keep a safe distance and report what you're seeing." Okay, so we should have led with that part. Right? I mean, if the animal is not wearing a collar, you really shouldn't just throw it into your car, right? That's just not thinking ahead, right? I mean, if you're going to be safety first or anything of those nature, you don't bring an unknown into your world. Oh, look, honey, I found this in the garden. I'm not sure what it is, but it looks like an unexploded ordnance from World War II. Hey, let's put it on the mantle. Yeah, we're going to show that puppy off. Look what we found in the backyard, decaying for 50 years, right? There are times that if you see something and it looks, it's like, hey, this poor animal or whatever, this looks cool. Maybe we shouldn't touch it. Okay, I'll give you an example. It was in Europe, I believe it was. A couple of poor guys, right? They're out there collecting scrap metal. Middle of winter. They get caught for some reason stuck in this place, and they discovered this canister is glowing and warm. right? It's sitting in the snow, but it's melted all the snow around it. So the guy thinks, hey, me and my blanket are going to snuggle up with this piece of warm steel, and we're going to make it through the night. And he did. Of course, he died of radiation poisoning not long afterwards because he was indeed sleeping with uranium. It was sitting there just warming itself up to, radioactive decay. So yeah, the man was nice and warm and comfortable that night, but when he woke up the next morning, his spine was pretty much fused together. So yeah, if you don't know what it is, chances are it's best to leave it the hell alone. Or prove Darwin correct. I don't mind. Either way. So yeah, the next time you see some weird animal, unknown animal, without a collar, whatever, wandering the streets, probably best not to just throw them all up into your car. That's a good way to get hurt. Oh yeah, it's Thursday morning. Yeah, you can feel it. Recently, in the news, I think it was yesterday morning, one of our city leaders was busted for DUI. In his release, Charlie Rivenbark wrote, late on the night of May 10, I received a call from my son who was experiencing an adverse medical event. At the time, I was on a trip with colleagues in Myrtle Beach. My son is a quadriplegic and his health and well-being are my top priority. Later that evening, I made the decision to leave Myrtle Beach and come home to be with him and to help his mother. I did not think I was impaired. In hindsight, it was not the right decision, but it was the one I made based on the knowledge that he was in pain. I accept responsibility for my actions, and I am truly sorry for this situation I have created. Received a call from his son, who's a quadriplegic. Maybe I missed something. And it's unfortunate that his son is a quadriplegic, and most of the quadriplegics that I've worked with don't really have the ability to juggle a phone, let alone hit the buttons, so, And I'm not sure I'm not sure how I feel about invoking the sympathy card for his son's situation for his own DUI. That tends to stretch credulity a bit. And then you couple this with a story by Adam Forgy, KAT7, I'm guessing they're on the west side of the Mississippi out of Washington. Yes, upstate Washington. Here's another story that at least Charlie didn't do this one. Man with 3 DUI arrests drives himself to court while drunk. That's right. A man facing charges related to a DUI was arrested again after police say he showed up to court to fight that DUI charge while visibly intoxicated. Tyrone, Pennsylvania man Lawrence Williams, look at that, 2 first names. Damn, Andrew. He was 58 years old, a little older than I am, still obviously not well educated or, hasn't learned much. Lawrence Williams, 58, showed up to his arraignment on DUI charges at 11 a.m. while visibly drunk and smelling like alcohol, police told WTAJ News. Police said Williams, who had a blood alcohol content of .176, was instructed to drive himself to court in a rented vehicle. Was instructed to drive himself in a rented... Who instructed him? That's my first question. The arrangement was related to a DUI charge from April 22nd when Williams allegedly crashed his vehicle into a fence in Bellwood, Pennsylvania. And he is already on probation for 2 other DUI charges from 2021. Williams now faces an additional charge for allegedly showing up to court intoxicated. Earned him a $40,000 bail, or bond rather. He was sent to jail on a $40,000 bond. If Williams does post bond, he will be ordered to follow certain rules, which he's been doing so good so far. First one being random drug testing at least once every 2 weeks. It's not drugs, it's alcohol, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, refrain from possessing alcohol and non-prescription drugs. That's going to go away. Placed on house arrest. Okay. Electronically monitored for alcohol use. How the hell does that work? I mean, electronically monitored usually means they put a thing on your ankle, right? But he's going to have a buddy who's going to drive to the store to get him his vodka, gin, whatever. Oh, and mental treatment. Electronically monitored for alcohol use. I'm dying to know how that one works. Oh, come on, computer. How do you electronically monitor for alcohol use? I don't know. Anyway, in August, Williams allegedly crashed into a mailbox while drunk and was arrested. In November, Williams was accused of showing up to a store while drunk to buy more alcohol. Surprise. Police say witnesses reported Williams was stumbling around the store. When police arrived, he was sitting in his car and he was arrested. Williams' preliminary hearing is set for May 10. He can make a choice. That's what I'm thinking. You should let him make a choice. You could do all the drinking you want and never drive again, or do all the driving you want and never drink again. I like to drive. I mean, I put an average of 150 miles anytime I get into my car. So yeah, let's make a choice here, Mr. Williams. I mean, 2 first names, Lawrence Williams. Andrew, I don't know where you came up with that little rule thingy, but man, far too accurate for me. But I'm still, this is still, how do you electronically monitor for alcohol use? I mean, I know they have those breathalyzer things in your car that you can't start the car unless you blow into the tube, and right? So that electronically monitors the car for alcohol use, I guess. What I find interesting is all you have to do is like give your buddy $5. Here, drink a Coke and blow into this thing, and I can start the car and we can crash into a mailbox. And thankfully, Mr. Williams has only done minor damage, like to a fence and to a mailbox. And true to his nature, you know, at least he was honest when he showed up in court. Yeah, Your Honor, I'm here anyway. Electronically monitor me for alcohol use. I'm trying to figure out what that would even look like. I mean, I understand the ankle monitor, right? So your boy can't roll through the drive-up liquor store, which is brilliant, by the way. Oh, yeah, let's not get a ticket for driving while intoxicated, but we'll drive through the liquor store and buy all the booze we can while sitting in the car. Genius. Right, I got another story. Former roommate, a roommate that we had. Not the brightest bulb in the box. Day one, he wants to celebrate his new freedom, his new life. He gets himself a little, the little bottle that goes in your pocket. I don't know if it's a fifth or an eighth or whatever the hell it's called. The little bottle, little glass bottle. And he's swigging some of that out of a brown bag on the beach, actually. And Mr. Bowling Pin is trying to make a pass at every woman on the beach. A couple of them get uncomfortable and let the beach patrol cats know that there's this weird guy trying to hit on all the chicks. And they say, all right, we're going to keep an eye on him, and it's not illegal to drink on the beach. So, as long as he's not throwing his glass bottle down and isn't giving it to any minors, and they had no problem with it. The part they had a problem with was when he went to his car, sat down in the driver's seat, swigged the rest of it, put the bottle in the passenger seat, and started up the car. Now, again, the police have been keeping an eye on the guy, so the moment he put it into gear, He was lit up like a Christmas tree, man. That's right. Day one, popped. Into the jail he goes. Yep. And then, a couple days later, he's still in jail because he doesn't know anybody. He doesn't have any money. It was like his second day of work. And, of course, he gets fired because he doesn't show up because he's been in jail for 2 days. The only phone number he has is the guy who, the landlord of the house we were renting, who had to stop what he was doing on a date in Southport, turn around and go all the way up to Burgaw to pick the guy up, to drop him off in Pender County, to go back to Southport to have his date. What a buddy. That's the type of education. Yeah, it's day one. I'm going to celebrate with some alcohol. Who needs Uber? Yeah, he had to sell his car to pay for his legal fees. It was a nightmare. But some of the decisions we make are going to come with consequences, whether you speak them or drive them or drink them or whatever it is that you do. You could end up like Mr. Rivenbark or Mr. Williams, where you're coming up with every kind of excuse to, absolve your behavior. Right? I mean, and some of this sounds a bit like the Cancun story of Ted Cruz. I did the bad thing because I was doing something good for someone else because it was important. Okay. I don't have to agree with that. But just as a case in point, unless you're really trying to drive the nail into your own coffin, there's a couple of general rules about court. One, don't show up hammered for a DUI case. Second, don't bring drugs. Oh, yeah, there was a story, I don't know the guy, but apparently he was reaching into his pocket for his identification. And this has happened more than once. It's happened at traffic stops, but the one in court was the funniest. He's pulling out his ID to show the sheriff, and like 2 or 3 bindles of crack pop out. Oh, yeah, I meant to leave these in my car. Oh, is there more in your car? Oh, no, I don't have a car, officer. Really? Which car isn't yours? Whoops. That's, I guess that's good for us, that the education system, by and large, doesn't work right. And that's good in the case of criminals because they're obviously not going to have the greatest insight in avoiding arrest. So, not uncommon for, one of these thug jumper guys rolling around in their thug machines doing 80 and a 55 as if they are untouchable. If you're rolling dirty, don't roll stupid. Oh, yeah. That guy, I think the bust was on I-40, right? Or I-90. But it was just outside Smithfield, I think it was. But, yeah, they pulled the guy over for doing like 85 and a 70. And then they pulled out 15 pounds of marijuana and a whole... It's just ridiculous. Guys, pay attention. All right. We have some more of the wonderful Asylum approved news coming up here in a bit. Yeah, this is one that I wrote or produced or whatever so that I wouldn't get in trouble with YouTube. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after these messages on the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad, right here on the Big Talker Network. Don't go nowhere.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. A member of the Wilmington City Council has been charged with a DWI in Brunswick County. According to an arrest warrant from the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office, Charlie Rivenbark was arrested and charged with DWI around 1:45 Wednesday morning in Leland. His blood alcohol level was 0.11. The legal limit is 0.08. According to the arrest warrant, Rivenbark allegedly unlawfully and willfully drove on the right side of the highway and failed to maintain lane control. Cape Fear Public Utility Authority customers will have to pay more for monthly water and sewer service. Under a new budget, the average residential customer's monthly bill will increase by $5.39, the first such increase in 4 years. The utility authority wants Comores to pay for PFAS removal in our water, but is having to sue the company for that to happen. We asked if customers would be reimbursed for the rate increase or if they would see lower rates in the future after the suit, but there is no clear answer. A suspect has pleaded guilty to hitting and killing a bystander in New Hanover County during a high-speed chase in 2019. Thomas Willoughby Jr. pled guilty yesterday afternoon to second-degree murder, robbery with a dangerous weapon, a hit-and-run causing death, DWI, and several other charges. He led police on a chase in 2019, hitting a Jeep and killing 51-year-old Sean Evans. Willoughby has been sentenced to at least 30 years in prison. He apologized to Evans' family in court. Evans' sister says she was surprised by his remarks. North Carolina hospitals are ranking best in the nation on a hospital safety report from the Leapfrog Group. The biannual Leapfrog Hospital Safety Grade assigns grades based on how well nearly 3,000 general hospitals perform on more than 30 measures of patient health and safety. North Carolina came in first place with the highest percentage of A-scoring hospitals. 2 local hospitals made high marks. New Hanover Regional Medical Center scored a B, and Novant Health Brunswick Medical Center got an A. For more on these stories, you can head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with your Storm Track 3 forecast. Finally, some much-needed rainfall in the Cape Fear with some light to moderate rainfall throughout the day today. Not expecting anything widespread. Rain odds no higher than 40% for your Thursday, and our high temperatures climb into the middle 70s for both coastal and inland communities, with north winds holding steady at about 10 to 20 miles per hour. As we head into the overnight hours, more scattered showers in store for us, mostly cloudy skies, and temperatures dropping down into the low to middle 60s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by 2 Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to 2menandatruck.com. 2menandatruck.com.
Folks, you know you're all looking for that special gift. Lines are long, traffic is frustrating, supply chains in the news. Just take a deep breath. If you're anywhere near Oak Island, come by Seaside Jewelers, 8801 East Oak Island Drive. Avoid the traffic, the lines, the frustration, and get that extraordinary and special gift. From high-end diamond rings to Larimar, from necklaces to bracelets, watches, and unique jewelry. And you also get one-on-one service with their experienced staff. Great prices now, just in time for the holidays. Come by and check out Seaside Jewelers, 8801 East Oak Island Drive.
Hi, this is Justin Humphreys from the Humphreys Law Firm on Eastwood Road. Tune in Thursdays from 6 to 7 p.m. for Objection to the Form, covering civil litigation, real estate issues, and intellectual property. That's Objection to the Form, Thursdays 6 to 7 p.m. right here on the Big Talker 106.7 FM.
Teachers and parents, the North Carolina Symphony is here to support you as you carry on the education of your children and students. Take your kids on a free virtual field trip to the Symphony with a virtual education concert and companion student book. Go on a virtual journey to learn what makes music music, with music by William Grant Still, Beethoven, Brahms, and more. Access the free video and student book with password 1932 at ncsymphony.org/virtual.
Hey, welcome back to the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad. Oh, yeah. Right here on the Asylum, right here on the Big Talker Network, Big Talker Live. Please download the app for Android and iOS devices. You will not be disappointed, I promise. Hey, so for you guys that are in a relationship, how much weight are you willing to carry for that relationship? Okay, so this is a fun story coming out of Reuters. Hungarian couples race in wife-carrying obstacle course. Now, if you've ever done a piggyback race, kind of cool. This is the Estonia style, where they're backwards. It's really unflattering to the couple. But apparently the hips of the wife are over the shoulders with the legs in front of the man. And of course she's staring at his ankles as they run through this obstacle course, part of which is a very long mud pit about 3 feet deep. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Around 30 Hungarian couples with husbands carrying their wives on their backs raced over rough terrain on Saturday in the nation's third wife carrying contest. Do you know what kind of hell that would cause in America if we were to try that? I mean, it would be all kinds of confusion. Like, which one is the wife? Which one's the husband? Is this a couple? What couples are allowed? Is there... Among the obstacles the couples encountered on the 260-meter-long track were a deep water-filled ditch at the beginning and end, with bales of hay and car tires along the route. Race organizer Gurali said couples were interested in competing as it allowed them to leave their comfort zone and achieve a win as a unit. I don't think that the wife is really contributing a whole lot to this event. I mean, she's basically an albatross around the husband's neck as they run the course. The sport is said to have its origin in the Viking Age. In modern times, the tradition is particularly established in Finland, where it has taken place since the 1990s. Estonian races have lent their name to the Estonian style of wife carrying, with the wife upside down and her feet over her husband's shoulder rather than a classic piggyback. Most couples chose the piggyback technique. The winning couples said they perfected their technique for the second round, earning them first place overall. Winning husband Norbert Van Scotty said their win was partly down to chance, as they were not sure they would have enough energy for the final sprint. We were nervous, his wife Tamia the wife said. I'll say that. But yeah, I can kind of relate to this because with my ex-wife, I carried her through graduate school. And I carried her across the threshold. And some of that carrying started becoming a little less for me, you know, because now I'm carrying the burden financially for her and her boyfriend at the time. Yeah, that was fun. So, if you're going to get into a race, a sack race, what do they call this? The Estonia wife carrying obstacle course. Obviously something we can't have here in America. I understand relationships are different for different people. I get that. But here in America, it seems that we have trouble defining the simple things like a marriage. Whether you can get a cake or not, maybe that determines if your marriage is valid, or maybe the wedding event is valid if you get a cake or not, or if the baker decides not to bake for you. I don't know. That's just, you know. If I were the baker, it's like, look, you give me money to make a cake, here you go. You want me to put Bob and Frank on there? Have at it. Right? And should not matter. Should not matter. But that would be an unfair advantage if you had, like, transgender... I don't know. I mean, how would that work? I mean, so far it seems that in Hungary they have, at least the ability to say, all right, this marriage works, boy, girl, one on top of the other, run through the mud, run up the hill, run through the tires, climb over the bales of hay, do all the crazy stuff that you would have to do if you were under fire in Ukraine, but do it with your wife on your back. Guys, we've been doing this for centuries, right? If your wife is on your back the whole time, it doesn't matter if you're physically carrying her or not. Okay, sorry, enough of that. Humor on Thursday morning is a bit of a stretch. Because Thursdays, early morning is so much fun. I mean, it is. It's like gig hangover. I may have even mentioned that. Where, you spend hours, right? Because I'm there 3 in the afternoon setting up for a gig that starts at 7. Because I want everything to be right, and I'm old and I'm slow, so I get there earlier so I can set up nice and slow. Knowing my back is going to argue the entire time. Then by the time it's over and I get home a little after midnight, completely exhausted, worn out, and sore, And I'm thinking, wow, where's my next gig? Wake up this morning thinking, yeah, it's going to be rough getting through this morning show, but where's my next gig? Oh, that's right. Tomorrow night I'm playing a private party. Cool. I can get a little rest in before that happens. So if you've never had a gig hangover, that's what it is. Just completely worn out and spent from one gig and just can't wait to do the next one. Had an interesting conversation with one of the guys last night at the Voice and Pen, a bass player, might be a little older than myself, and we were speaking about the loss of support as an encouraged. I don't even know the term for it. You can't teach support. You have to understand support. Not everybody is the center of attention. And I think it was very, very important and fortuitous for my parents to begin my music career on cello, which is very much a supporting role. It's not a lead instrument, right? It's not like I'm ripping violin concertos. I'm a supporting role. In theater and in productions, live stage, any of that requires a lot of support positions. People that are doing stuff that's not glamorous, it's not in the middle of the spotlight, right? We're usually off to the side. People don't even recognize us or notice us unless something goes wrong. And then our name is usually, what's the word I'm looking for? Substituted for unflattering pronouns. So I think more of us should be aware. I would encourage people to understand the support functions of a given situation. Whether it's politics, whether it's your own company, whether it's your family, there are times that being the lead is not the best thing for it. Sometimes taking a step back and being the supporting role. What can I do to help the people that are in front do the best job that they can? Like the Voice and the Pen. The Voice and the Pen as a performance series doesn't need me, right? It's just singer-songwriters getting up there with a guitar or a piano or a accordion or whatever it is they have and singing their hearts out to original music. And I felt that it deserved the kind of support that I can bring. While it is that I myself have written a few songs and singer-songwriter type thing, I'm not performing on these because I'm supporting the performers. I'm making sure they have the best sound available. I'm making sure they look good on the stream. I'm making sure we have good content and recordings. Right? And a lot of that is just support for what I believe in, for something that I actually support. Because I am supporting it with my own time, my own money, my own equipment, my own desire to see something like this thrive, to excel, to become something we understand as indispensable to life. I mean, I'll invoke the Churchill memory. During the Second World War, apparently they asked him that, hey, we need to work on our budget here to support the war. Should we cut some of the money out of the arts? Churchill's response apparently, or reportedly, was, then what are we fighting for? Right? The arts, whether it's performance art or sculpture, painting, dance, whatever, these are expressions of the human condition. Whether or not you agree with it, these are expressions that people can identify with, can relate to, can resonate with. Maybe not everything resonates with everyone. It's not supposed to. But it certainly is the expression. It is certainly the human condition to be expressive, to bring these experiences forward. And not everybody's going to be the guy in front with the loud jacket and whatever else, right? I mean, school teachers, if you think about it, they are one of the ultimate support roles. Because it's not the teachers that are taking the tests or learning stuff or being inspired or creativity and curiosity being nurtured. They support that in their students. Not all the students are going to respond in kind, but certainly that's more of their role as they understand it. At least I did when I was in the School of Education. I'm not there to be a star teacher. I'm there to be the catalyst for the students' curiosity, for their own knowledge. So being a support position, I think, everybody wants to be unique, everybody wants to be the star, everybody wants to be the center of attention, but they can't seem to support the person next to them. Right? In the case of this wife carrying contest, which half are you? Are the albatross or are you the support? I mean, that right there is enough to narrow the focus, I would think. But as we were just, as our conversation was evolving, it was very much along the lines of the kids today just don't have that ability to see what could be done to make life a little bit easier for the next person. It's taught in a way that's not directly mentioned like this in Boy Scouts, but certainly to pay attention to the world around you, and if somebody's struggling and you have a free hand, help them out. Open a door. Right? If they drop something, pick it up. Hand it to them. Hey. Right? And a lot of that comes back down to the honesty. There have been a number of times I've gone back to my client and said, are you sure? I think you overpaid me. And of course they were like, well, no, I wanted to thank you. That's a bit of a tip. Oh, okay, now that I know, I don't feel dishonest in taking extra money that we didn't agree upon. And that tends to shock the client. Right? They're like, I didn't know. No, I meant to give you. You really thought that you were being overpaid. Yeah, we had agreed on X and you gave me this. I want to make sure that you didn't miscount, because if you get home and you're missing a $50 and you're like, hey, what happened? I want to make sure that everything's straight before I leave, right? And that's part of being honest. That's part of going the extra little bit and saying, you know what? I am responsible for me. You don't have to sleep with me, but I do. And when I wake up in the morning, I want to know that I want to feel like I did my best the day before. Now, I can't help everybody. I can't support everybody. I mean, that's not the goal. But at least to have the mindset to be prepared. Right? That if an event needs help, that you can fold chairs, unfold chairs, set up chairs, sweep the floor. Right? I mean, if a person's mentality has gotten to the point that they are above something, that's not me. I don't wash dishes. I'm too important. That tells me that SOB has no concept of community. Because the community requires leaders, and the best leaders are those who support, those who are actually in the trenches. We even have a former president that is banged up and old and whatever else. Carter's still out there hammering houses together, man. Right? That's support. Once the leader of the free world, and he is still hammering wood together to make homes for the less fortunate. That's support. That, to me, is a leader. Right? Management that sits at the top and tells other people what to do, that's not something to inspire me. But if you got somebody in the trenches digging dirt with me, oh yeah, that leader is going to have me as a loyal companion, right? I will follow somebody who leads by example. But if they're just leading because they happen to be they expect to be a leader or a representative because they were on a reality show, no, it doesn't translate at all. Now, I will say that there's a caveat here. There's a bit of a disparity in this logic of mine, and I admit it, that without experience you can't be effective. Yes and no. I think the experience is the part that we kind of get hung up on when looking to our leaders or who should be a leader. A career politician is not somebody I feel as a effective representative. Mainly because very few of the constituents are career politicians. Most of the constituents have been being given representative are going to be laborers, workers, salespeople, people who dig ditches, people who wire electric, people who do the plumbing. Not career politicians. I want to be represented by somebody more closely resembling me. I have one suit. If the entire political landscape is filled with MBAs and lawyers who obviously don't even, they're already out of touch. I'm not sure how long ago it was, but we used to have like plumbers who were in office, right? I think somebody who has run a successful small business from 1 or 2 pipe wrenches and a soldering iron into a, $1 million a year business, that's who I want to represent me, because they've done something from the ground up. They have shown what it is to be a supportive leader, to start with just themselves and build it up into this massive company. Not somebody who inherited their crap, right? I mean, this is the type of logic and this is the type of yield we can expect, where we have a women's health commission that doesn't have a single woman on it, or an entire cadre of representatives, all of whom are lawyers. Not one of them is a regular human being, or a decent human being for that matter. So yeah, it's probably difficult to be politically aware and run for office and not be a political, career politician. So here's sort of how that works, at least in my math. Andrew pointed out that most of the people in the day-to-day of these offices have been there long before the current elected regime and will be there long after the currently elected regime. These are the people that do the day-to-day groundwork. So maybe somebody, Mr. Business Guy, who's never been in office before, gets elected because he's like, look, the ideas that I brought in and the way I treat my employees and the way I treat my business has resulted in this type of growth and this type of reputation. If I bring this to our state legislature or federal legislature, these same principles that I actively embrace in my day-to-day business can be brought to my representation in the legislation. Now, I may not understand the subtleties of protocol or the correct formatting of a bill, but that's what you have the staffers and aides for. They've been doing this for 20 years. That's where the experience comes in. They're the ones who can do the proper filing. They know the offices, they know the numbers, they know the contacts and all that good stuff. So it should be a hand in hand that our representatives are more accurate representations of who we are as a society, as a community, and then the machinations of the political infrastructure, right? The aides and the paperwork and the filings and the clerks and all that crap. Those are handled by people that have been doing this. They're not politicians, they're workers, right? Not that much different from the UPS guy sorting packages. These people are political, sorting bills and whatever else those things are, writs and opinions and drafts and whatever else, right? So we don't need career politicians. They are going to kill us while profiting, right? I mean, Pelosi is worth way more than her salary would suggest. How we got there, how she got there, is no secret. right? She just took a page from the Martha Stewart. What's that thing called? The playbook, yeah. Yeah, take a little bit of that information, a little Richard Burr there, who has decided to retire before being prosecuted on out of office. I mean, that's reasonable. So, yeah, there's all sorts of issues and corruption with the political or career politician concept. That should not be a career. Right? I mean, the entire time we've been referring to it as public service. If it really were public service, I consider my one bag challenge a public service, and nobody pays me for my public service. So maybe we rethink what our public service is. Why are we paying these jackholes? They don't pay for anything. They don't pay for food. They don't pay for lodging. They don't pay for travel. And, as has been pointed out on this and other shows throughout the Big Talker Network, it's not like anybody who's elected needs the money, right? The poor are not elected. The rich are elected, and the elected are rich, right? That's how it works. It's been pointed out that even the aides and staffers are disparately non-minority, or certainly non-socioeconomically depressed, because you have to be rich to be able to afford to live in to live in D.C. or North Carolina now, right? Regardless of what your gig is. So if you're a staffer making, $10, $15 an hour, and your rent for a cracker box apartment is $3,000 a month, yeah, you're gonna have to do something on the side. Or already be well off enough that your parents or, your own little retirement fund or whatever, trust fund, can pay your stuff for you the entire time. Because you're not going to do it on an aide salary, that's for sure. How's that for egalitarian, huh? I think we can do better than that, ladies and gentlemen. So maybe we eliminate the career politicians and start looking for leaders that understand what it is to support those they lead, support those they represent. Because a lot of people, and I think this is true across the board, across the world, that people look to elections to gain power, to find a way to make money without having any marketable skill or any direct, how would you say, participation, right? Because, I mean, these guys, for example, this reality guy who didn't even win the reality show that he was on is trying to say that, oh, I am the best conservative. No. You have no marketable skill, and the only reason why you're trying to get into the legislature is that you're paid to do nothing. If we were able to elect actual support-based people who understand what it is to be a bass player in a band, people who understand what it is to support the people doing the work, right? Not megalomaniac, narcissistic punks, right? I mean, we know these people. They're the ones who are entitled, right? It happened in Rio Arriba in New Mexico when the sheriff thought he could play both ends, make money on the drug dealer. Oh, and then he showed up to the arrest drunk. And then they wondered why, wait a minute, why are you even involved? Why are you even here? And it turns out that that was his personal drug buddy that he was making money on selling drugs. Hey. How'd that work out for you? Right? If we had people that understand the support role needed, not only in politics but in regular life, we wouldn't have Anthony Spivey as a lead story for 2 weeks. Because Anthony Spivey himself would have the wherewithal and maybe even the sense of, the sense of contrition or whatever, sense of responsibility, a sense of, for me, the sacred nature of what it is you're doing. And if you're going to be the police chief, maybe you shouldn't sell the handgun used in a homicide to a friend to buy some extra drugs Oh, wait, you sold all the drugs out of the evidence locker, too. Right? These people just would not make it into those positions if we could find some way to, what's the word I'm looking for? We can highlight or search for the support nature in a person. Because if anybody comes at me narcissistic and self-important, I'm thinking, you're not the one I want in that role. You do not represent me. I want to find somebody who knows what it's like to say, oh, wait, let me grab a mop. So when a mess is made, they're like, wait a minute, before we do anything else, let's clean the mess up first. Then we'll figure out what happened. The people I don't want in office are the ones that when something happens, they just start blaming. And they start invoking other crap to try and justify their own position in this when they're not even willing to, like that one senator, I believe it was a senator or maybe it was a representative, who was down on his hands and knees picking up after the event on January 6th in the Rotunda. He was so personally attached to his environment and his support for what's going on for our democracy that he was on his hands and knees picking up the trash, trying to clean up the mess before he bothered to name, blame, anything like that, or use it for some sense of personal grifting. Hey, we were just attacked. Throw money at my campaign so I can get reelected and take care of these. No, none of that. He made no noise whatsoever. In fact, somebody walked over. They're like, who are you and what are you doing? Oh, I'm just picking up this place looks pretty bad, and this is my workplace. This is our Democratic home. This is our Republican home. This is our Democratic Republic centerpiece. This is our hallowed halls, our sacred place. And these jackholes are running through here stealing the podium and traipsing around in some dumbass hat. Bare-chested because I'm a man. Absolutely no sense of decorum, no sense of, that, I don't know. I mean, I'm not even a religious person, but when I go into a church and I see how much care, how much love was put into what was here because the people, maybe not anything I believe, but they believed to the point that they were able to put in that type of love, that type of detail, that type of energy to create these incredible monuments that are just astounding. They're beautiful. Again, the basis and may not be something that I understand, but the expression I can relate to. And we seem to have lost that somewhere along the way, whether it's in education or culture or arts or something. But without that recognition of our efforts, of our, again, I'll put church against the voice and the pen. It's that important to me that I will keep putting in that effort, to keep putting in that energy. We all will. Because it's that important to us. That we will give it that type of love and attention that maybe you don't understand. But it doesn't give you any right to condemn it. And these artists that show up, when you see them on the stage, when you see them on the screen, and the rest of us are making them look that good and sound that good, it's up to them to give me that material. But they support it as well. It's not like they just say, hey, thanks for the, sign me up, clap for me. No, they're behind the scenes doing the work too. And sometimes that work can be as easy as clicking like and share, which all of you can do right now on the Facebook and YouTube page. Maybe it's throwing $5 in the kitty to help the next kid out. There's millions of opportunities, millions of options. And we're going to explore a few more of those when we come back. Hopefully we'll have a conversation with a smart guy, if I can get his attention. Because the coffee's running a little low, and I will do what I can to make up for it when we come back on the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad, right here on the Big Talker Network. Don't go nowhere.
keeping Holden Beach informed. The Big Talker 106.7 FM WFBT, Carolina Beach.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. A member of the Wilmington City Council has been charged with a DWI in Brunswick County. According to an arrest warrant from the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office, Charlie Rivenbark was arrested and charged with DWI around 1:45 Wednesday morning in Leland. His blood alcohol level was 0.11. The legal limit is 0.08. According to the arrest warrant, Rivenbark allegedly unlawfully and willfully drove on the right side of the highway and failed to maintain lane control. Cape Fear Public Utility Authority customers will have to pay more for monthly water and sewer service. Under a new budget, the average residential customer's monthly bill will increase by $5.39, the first such increase in 4 years. The Utility Authority wants Comores to pay for PFAS removal in our water, but is having to sue the company for that to happen. We asked if customers would be reimbursed for the rate increase or if they would see lower rates in the future after the suit, but there is no clear answer. A suspect has pleaded guilty to hitting and killing a bystander in New Hanover County during a high-speed chase in 2019. Thomas Willoughby Jr. pled guilty yesterday afternoon to second-degree murder, robbery with a dangerous weapon, a hit-and-run causing death, DWI, and several other charges. He led police on a chase in 2019, hitting a Jeep and killing 51-year-old Sean Evans. Willoughby has been sentenced to at least 30 years in prison. He apologized to Evans' family in court. Evans' sister says she was surprised by his remarks. North Carolina hospitals are ranking best in the nation on a hospital safety report from the Leapfrog Group. The biannual Leapfrog Hospital Safety Grade assigns grades based on how well nearly 3,000 general hospitals perform on more than 30 measures of patient health and safety. North Carolina came in first place with the highest percentage of A-scoring hospitals. 2 local hospitals made high marks. New Hanover Regional Medical Center scored a B, and Novant Health Brunswick Medical Center got an A. For more on these stories, you can head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with your Storm Track 3 forecast. Finally, some much-needed rainfall in the Cape Fear with some light to moderate rainfall throughout the day today. Not expecting anything widespread. Rain odds no higher than 40% for your Thursday. And our high temperatures climb into the middle 70s for both coastal and inland communities, with north winds holding steady at about 10 to 20 miles per hour. As we head into the overnight hours, more scattered showers in store for us, mostly cloudy skies, and temperatures dropping down into the low to middle 60s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by 2 Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to 2menandatruck.com. 2menandatruck.com. Do you or someone you love suffer from back pain, poor circulation, or struggle to get a good night's sleep? Do you just need help getting into or out of your chair? US Med Express is Wilmington's leading supplier of Golden Technology lift and sleep chairs, carrying a variety of models in our showroom at 1733 Dawson Street. Our chairs lead the industry in power lift recliner features and advances in technology. Our chairs are FDA certified as medical devices, which means it's 100% tax deductible and helps with a number of medical conditions, including arthritis, poor circulation, and sleep apnea. Give us a call today at 910-500-6162 or stop by and experience our chairs for yourself at 1733 Dawson Street. That's 910-500-6162. 1733 Dawson Street in Wilmington. US Med Express.
O'Leary's Automotive Repair has multiple locations in the area in Hampstead, Leland, the Myrtle Grove area, Ogden, and Wrightsboro. O'Leary's Automotive Repair, a trusted, locally owned business since 2006.
Hey, welcome back to the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad. I was hit with a bit of a reminder here over the break about supporting roles. So what's happening right now is a primary election to determine our candidates for November. Everyone that we're voting for is supposed to be a supporting role for us, the taxpayers. We should remember that. And it still applies, at least from my perspective, that the more narcissistic and self-centered a person is, the less likely they are to be effective in helping the community because they're more interested in themselves. And this is not party dependent at all. You can see this in day-to-day life. While I have no problems with, owning and carrying a gun, but if you're walking into a Starbucks loaded with more ammunition than is needed in Afghanistan, then obviously you're not there because you're supporting someone or whatever. You're just being a narcissistic prick, carrying your gun to try and intimidate other people and, make yourself seem more important, seem bigger than you are, which, again, is completely against the concept of being a supportive person. The responsible gun owners who are supportive of their community are going to be the ones you have no idea, right? They don't need you to see their gun so you see them differently as more important or more powerful or stronger or more machismo or whatever the hell it is. That makes you morons think it's cool to go walking around with a big gun on your hip. That's a display. That's the performative BS that Andrew was speaking of a couple of weeks ago. This is performative patriotism that does absolutely no good other than to let me know that you are somebody I don't want in my life. I don't want to be near you. If you have to carry 2 or 3 guns and display them, then yeah, it worked. I don't want anything to do with you. You have intimidated me right the hell on out of your life. I'm not going to support that. Now, if you show up with an axe, right? John Hussman showed up with 2 axes. I was like, man, you taking down some trees or what? No. The week before, he saw another performer pop a string in the middle of a song, and he was like, I'm smarter than that. I'm taking a second guitar just in case. And that's a supportive role. The man is a hell of a guitar player, but he also knows to just sit in the chair and play the damn instrument. So the lady singing, Leah, I don't remember her last name right now, amazing singer. So he was playing a supportive role for that singer. And when those relationships are defined and understood inherently, there is no where do I go, what do I do? You already know because your mindset is already in a supportive role. And I don't think we get enough of that. Certainly not in our culture as, known in live events, right? Like football or whatever. The quarterback may be the star, but it's the offensive line who keeps him from getting slaughtered play after play. But we place too much emphasis on the center stage person, not on the people running, right? When I was younger and working on operas with my mom, and she was a soprano for the Santa Fe and Albuquerque Opera Theaters and other productions. Yeah, Mom was out there in the middle of the stage with the spotlight on her, just chirping her heart out, but there's 5 guys, 7 guys, 12 guys behind the scenes pulling on the fly lines to change the scenery, right? You guys got guys up in the catwalk running the lights, right? You got people in the booth that are making sure the scenery is right. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot of people to make my mom look good on stage. And that was never lost on me because I understood it took a big team to make those few people in makeup in the front look good. That was impressive to me. That was this type of support that resonated with me. So I think support is the key factor in any candidate, right? They should be supportive, and I'll even parallel it with our friend Dr. Cahoon from Cape Fear River Watch, right? Anybody can volunteer for the Cape Fear River Watch and be supportive. And it doesn't matter if you have a PhD, because even a man with a PhD can be supportive by standing up and saying, hey, this is wrong. But he can also bend over and pick up the trash. He's not above it. You see what I'm saying? He knows the support role for the Cape Fear may require of him to do things that are unpleasant. That's kind of like how it is in life. So if I only ever see a man in a suit, I start to trust him less. Because that tells me he doesn't interact with life. He doesn't support what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the things that I noticed about Zelensky was like the moment the war started, he's like, I don't need a suit. This is just pretense BS. Give me a shirt. Give me a pair of pants and a pair of boots. And let's get this done. Our people, they fire tear gas in the street so they can do a photo op in front of a church with an upside-down Bible. That's the difference between being supportive and being a narcissistic jackhole. And it's not limited to any one party. Again, we had Slick Willie, who had as much of an ego, as much of a narcissistic, self-centered nature. He had no interest in supporting America. No, he just liked the power. Oh, yeah. Women love power. And if that's what you got to do to get what you need, you're in the wrong game, baby. And we really, really need to raise the bar. Including to the point, like we covered yesterday, the Nicky, what's his name? Will Hoyt. If you remember, Will Hoyt is in jail awaiting trial for the murder of his wife. But apparently, he is one of 3 winners in a GOP primary and will appear on this year's ballot for a township board seat. According to the, King? What is King's gig? Brad King, the election division of Indiana, bipartisan co-director of the bipartisan Indiana election division, said there's no legal reason he can't be a candidate, even though he's a murderer, alleged murderer, who's on trial, waiting trial, right? No legal reason he can't be a candidate. Under our system, you are innocent until proven guilty. I'll give you that. If a person is convicted of a felony, then they are no longer eligible to be a candidate and are ineligible to hold office. But in the next sentence, any notary public can administer an oath of office, and that can be in any setting in which a person is available to have the oath administered and sign the oath of office. King says it would be possible for him to take his oath of office in jail. There's no scheduled date for Will Hoyt's murder trial, and he must stay in jail until the trial. Brilliant. That's the type of support we would, right? No. He killed his wife right after her last chemo treatment. That's who you want representing you, as someone who would kill a cancer patient right after they beat cancer? Y'all in Indiana need to rethink how this works. That's obviously not a supportive candidate. This is a narcissistic, self-centered prick who killed his own wife. Allegedly killed his own wife. Really? I would think you would just eliminate him from the top of your thing right there. And just say enough of that. I don't know why you stopped. Okay. My computer is giving me an error here, and it's like, wait a minute, that's inaccurate. I ran that break, and now you're being difficult in saying I didn't run that break, and for some reason, I don't know. Y'all don't care. I do. It broke. Something went wrong. It broke. And it's just something else to work with, something else to fix. So, sorry, my rant is still on being a supportive person, and, well, let's use a few other examples of anybody who's been in office and is a loudmouth, outrageous, stupid person, right? Throwing up mud and throwing up all kinds of alarms and warnings and stupid, right? Calling the police for somebody who wrote chalk. Using the word please, not one singular derogatory or nothing threatening. And this representative called the police. Oh, my God, somebody wrote on chalk in my driveway, on my sidewalk. It's not even your sidewalk, city sidewalk. And it's in chalk. The next rain, it's gone. And it was a very polite message. Please rethink your position. That's, is that a threat? I mean, have we lost all understanding of English comprehension when reading? Is that where we are now? I'm not sure I support that. That's a little... And being a supportive role. Learning how to be a bass player in a world of lead guitar players and lead singers and egos, right? And other, there are so many blatant symptoms to those who are not of a supportive mindset. For example, DUIs, multiple certainly DUIs, is the mentality of the person saying, I am more important and I know better than you do, and I'm a better driver when I'm drunk. These are people who do not understand what it is to be a supportive person, to be in a supportive role. They are more important than anybody else on the road, which is why they can do this in their mind. And when they run for office, most of the time they're talking about how wonderful they are. That's not who I want running for office. I want the person running for office who tells us how wonderful we are and what he's going to do to help us be more wonderful. Not what he's going to do to improve the system. I don't think I'm not behind that. But I am behind somebody who can say, hey, I'm following your lead because I represent you. So maybe we need to look at our roles a little bit different, that we're not electing leaders, we're electing representatives. We need leaders in our community, in which case we're going to have a conversation, I believe, if not next week, the week after, with Dr. Dalton. And we're going to have one wonderful conversation about the Eden Village. These are leaders. These are community leaders that have noticed, we all notice. Camp Public Library down on 3rd Street, right? You can't not notice that. Certainly our tourists can't avoid it, right? They go downtown, they're thinking, hey, I want to go see the battleship. And they can run the gauntlet of the homeless people asking for cigarettes and loosies and dollars and, hitting them. I don't want to hear your life biography. I don't need to hear your sad, sad story. We got enough of those. And I sure as hell don't need to see you holding a cardboard sign on at least the other day I saw a guy who was actually out there, like he was with a guitar. He had his cardboard sign, right? And he's out there interrupting traffic, trying to get money. But at least he was doing something. He was playing a guitar and singing his heart out, right? Busking, if you will. I think he picked a bad spot for it, but it's far more than just holding a sign saying, I just moved to town and I'm homeless. Why the hell did you move here? Right? We don't need you here. We need you in like Lumberton or Whiteville or Chadburn. That's where you're needed. Don't come here. I mean, our housing is getting more expensive. Why would you move to a place without a job that has some of the highest bloated real estate in the nation, thinking you're going to make it with a cardboard sign? Obviously not a supporting role. And as K.O. Davis Spot points out, and there have been a number of times, it's like, man, I can't get a job. Here's a job. Here's a job that I did until I managed to find another job. I was washing dishes at a restaurant because the bills needed to be paid. I don't know what makes it, different, that I would much rather wash dishes and do something to earn money than standing on a street corner with a cardboard sign like an absolute abject failure of my family and parents. Right? I mean, as dysfunctional and abusive as my family was, at least I have the wherewithal to say, you know what? Holding a sign on a street corner is the lowest form of BS there is. If you can stand and walk up and down the street holding a cardboard sign begging for money, you can wash the frickin' dishes. You can sweep a damn floor. You can climb a tree and cut a branch. Come on. That's why I think it should be illegal. Absolutely, 100% illegal. And certainly if they try to invoke some sort of religious guilt. God loves you. Jesus loves you. Give me money because I'm a worthless piece of crap who didn't bother to apply himself in any other way, shape, or form, and have now decided to place all my burdens on the greater community because I'm a worthless piece of crap. The next step is running for office, right? Just go down to the thrift store, buy yourself a suit with a gaudy-ass tie, and start knocking on doors. Hey, I know I'm drunk, but I'm running for office if you don't mind. I'm going to be a city council. Because city council pays me enough, and I'll never get a ticket again. Right? I mean, our entire political structure has this gilded gleam to it that seems to attract the worst of our communities. 330 million people, and we ended up with Trump, Biden, and Clinton in the last 8 years? Really? I mean, conservative aside or liberal aside, we need some adults in here. Right? Everything from AOC to Boebert is just embarrassment. None of these people that are in the news for being supportive people in their community. That's my point. Right? If you're not going to be supportive of the people in your community, just get the hell out. There's a whole lot of other stuff that could be getting done, and it's not getting done because you're in the way. Yeah, the world needs more bass players. That's all there is to that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're rolling on this Thursday as best we can. During this break, if you would, please go to the website. Send us an email with any comments, questions, concerns, critiques, or compliments you may have. Make sure to download the Android iOS device. Maybe chat a little bit in the Facebook or YouTube thingy, live stream, whatever. And, yeah. The Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad. We'll be right back after this. Messages don't go nowhere.
Keeping Holden Beach informed. The Big Talker 106.7 FM WFBT, Carolina Beach.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and experiences connect through conversation, and it feels good.
This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together. Start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/one small step. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. A member of the Wilmington City Council has been charged with a DWI in Brunswick County. According to an arrest warrant from the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office, Charlie Rivenbark was arrested and charged with DWI around 1:45 Wednesday morning in Leland. His blood alcohol level was .11. The legal limit is .08. According to the arrest warrant, Rivenbark allegedly unlawfully and willfully drove on the right side of the highway and failed to maintain lane control. Cape Fear Public Utility Authority customers will have to pay more for monthly water and sewer service. Under a new budget, the average residential customer's monthly bill will increase by $5.39, the first such increase in 4 years. The Utility Authority wants Comores to pay for PFAS removal in our water, but is having to sue the company for that to happen. We asked if customers would be reimbursed for the rate increase or if they would see lower rates in the future after the suit, but there is no clear answer. A suspect has pleaded guilty to hitting and killing a bystander in New Hanover County during a high-speed chase in 2019. Thomas Willoughby Jr. pled guilty yesterday afternoon to second-degree murder, robbery with a dangerous weapon, a hit-and-run causing death, DWI, and several other charges. He led police on a chase in 2019, hitting a Jeep and killing 51-year-old Sean Evans. Willoughby has been sentenced to at least 30 years in prison. He apologized to Evans' family in court. Evans' sister says she was surprised by his remarks. North Carolina hospitals are ranking best in the nation on a hospital safety report from the Leapfrog Group. The biannual Leapfrog Hospital Safety Grade assigns grades based on how well nearly 3,000 general hospitals perform on more than 30 measures of patient health and safety. North Carolina came in first place with the highest percentage of A-scoring hospitals. 2 local hospitals made high marks. New Hanover Regional Medical Center scored a B, and Novant Health Brunswick Medical Center got an A. For more on these stories, you can head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with your Storm Track 3 forecast. Finally, some much-needed rainfall in the Cape Fear with some light to moderate rainfall throughout the day today. Not expecting anything widespread. Rain odds no higher than 40% for your Thursday, and our high temperatures climb into the middle 70s for both coastal and inland communities, with north winds holding steady at about 10 to 20 miles per hour. As we head into the overnight hours, more scattered showers in store for us, mostly cloudy skies, and temperatures dropping down into the low to middle 60s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by 2 Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to 2menandatruck.com. 2menandatruck.com.
Folks, you know you're all looking for that special gift. Lines are long, traffic is frustrating, supply chains in the news. Just take a deep breath. If you're anywhere near Oak Island, come by Seaside Jewelers, 8801 East Oak Island Drive. Avoid the traffic, the lines, the frustration, and get that extraordinary and special gift. From high-end diamond rings to Larimar, from necklaces to bracelets, watches, and unique jewelry. And you also get one-on-one service with their experienced staff. Great prices now, just in time for the holidays. Come by and check out Seaside Jewelers, 8801 East Oak Island Drive.
I'm a boat builder. It's a tough job that takes time, patience, and precision. It's also incredibly rewarding. How many people can say they built a boat from scratch? In our area, there's a great need for people who can build and repair boats. I turned my love for life on the water into a career that I truly enjoy. I went to CFCC for 2 years, got my training, and now I look forward to work every day. You can too. Visit cfcc.edu/boatbuilding and get started today.
Enjoying Big Talker Network is as easy as asking for it. Program your digital home assistants such as Google Home, Alexa, and Siri to stream Big Talker Network content by simple voice command. Enjoy convenient hands-free access to the program whenever you want, however you want, by asking for Big Talker.
Hey, welcome back to the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad, right here on the Big Talker Network. BigTalker.live is the website. That's where you can hit the email link and send us any comments, questions, concerns, critiques, or compliments you may have, which will help us improve as a station and as a show. Of course, I will probably ignore your suggestions because I don't know what I'm doing anyway. And that's why I'm in this seat and you're not. Ha! It's a lot of fun. And I think I'm going to set a record this week. I think this will be the first week since Hertel came on the air that I haven't had Andrew Donaldson as a guest at some point during the week to sort of bounce some of these stories off of and get a little bit more understanding and maybe even a little bit more humor out of. Because sometimes, hidden in the details is a whole lot of, well, what you weren't expecting. Isn't that awesome? Ha-ha. That's right. That's what we do here on the Big Talker. And on the Asylum, well, there's enough people carrying other news that we can carry the news that nobody else wants to carry. Or to opine on things that, other people just don't really recognize. Like the need for a true supportive mindset in our elected officials. That's just, I would think it's common sense, right? In any of our civic situations, like you're looking to elect leadership in your church, for example. You want the person who's actually the most supportive and the most helpful. You don't want the guy who's in the middle saying, hey, vote for me because I'm a great guy. Yeah, vote for me because I got all the bigly ideas. Yeah, vote for me because I got the big words. Yeah, because I know we get. And yeah, hire me. You should vote for me because I'm going to bring my whole family in on this, right? All of my idiot kids here that were all raised and inbred. Yeah. Yeah, they're going to help me run this thing. No. We need people who are actually effective and supportive. And once they've shown that, those are the people I think that would be effective representatives. A lawyer, to me, doesn't really evoke any sense of confidence in me whatsoever. So if I have a bunch of MBAs and lawyers running for office, that tells me that they don't have a clue what's going on. They are in no way associated with a real life that you and I, people who actually toil and have to do things that are unpleasant just to make it through the day, right? How many of us have to deal with at least one Karen a week? And I know I have a cousin named Karen, and I know she resents that name all the way to the end. But so does everybody named John, right? Because every toilet and prostitute news story has to have that word, that name in there. And how do you think the Johns feel about it? Yeah, let that one sink in a minute. Yep, it's a slow Thursday because it was a long night Wednesday night. If you weren't with me Wednesday night, either virtually through the stream or in person at the waterline, you have no grounds upon which to complain. Unless you were there with me helping load the gear in, or at least participating in the gig, buying beer and shouting and screaming and clapping and whistling and whatever else carrying on. I don't want to hear it. But that's what support is. Having to do things when it's unpleasant. Maybe it's an unpleasant thing to do. Maybe it's a pleasant thing to do just at an unpleasant time. Right? I haven't had enough sleep. Therefore, I am not entirely prepared for the world-class radio program you're used to hearing on the Asylum. Part of it is that I didn't have any stories of guys trading their testicles for a new car. Right? I mean, apparently only one guy on the planet, 8 billion of us, was dumb enough to do that, and thank God for that. If somebody else does it, it's just going to be a copycat, and I'm going to have fun ripping into that. But hey, I'm almost 60, and most of my body works that if I can sell off some parts to pay off my mortgage, man, I'm all for it. I wouldn't buy a car. You want a testicle? I want a 3-bedroom house. Let's make a deal. How's that work out? It'd be like a payment plan. You get one now, one later. right? Because my mortgage is 20 years, so I'll give you one testicle now and the other one in 20 years, and my house will be paid off. Now, the other part of the question, whenever you buy something, the government steps in and taxes it. How do you tax a testicle? What's the sales tax, right? Okay, you're at the dealership and you're buying a Nissan 370Z, and the cost of the 370Z is one testicle, and the sales tax is I guess the tax would be based on the value of the car, which is usually included in the submission of funds for the car, right? Like when you go in the Walmart and buy a toaster, the toaster is $10, and then you got to pay another $7 on top of that, or 70 cents on top of that in taxes, so it costs you $10.70. So if your tax rate is about 7% when buying a car, right? So it's a testicle and a vein, some toenail clippings, I don't know, maybe a pinky finger. What else do you toss in to pay the tax when buying a car with a testicle? We have questions. These are legitimate questions, right? I mean, I got taxed when I bought my car. I don't know about you. And then I'm paying tax every year on it. I wonder what he's slapping on the desk of the DMV. I'm here to pay the taxes on my testicle car. I'm going to pay you in pubes. I don't know. I mean, how does that work? How would that work? No, of course, the technical, literal-minded person is going to say, well, actually, the value of the testicle was valued at a particular monetary value, and then, so I guess one testicle goes straight to the car, and the other one goes to maintenance and taxes and insurance, I guess, and you just sort of hold that one in escrow? So many questions. And if this is the new type of barter system, I mean, we're going to have to come up with something, right? I mean, can you imagine what people will be trading for a tank of gas on one of those squat trucks? And it's not like these guys have any shame. I mean, they'll drive around in these embarrassing contraptions. God only knows what they'll do for the money. And thankfully, I mean, please sell all the testicles, because that lets me know you can't breed. So, maybe we have a new type of testicle festival instead of cash for clunkers. Is that what the situation was? Right? Maybe it's Teslas for testicles. We should do that to prevent people from breeding. And it's voluntary. It's not like it's being mandated in any way. Hey, you want a really cool luxury brand electric vehicle for free? Drop your testicles in the box and drive away in a new Tesla today. Boy, that would solve a lot of problems, wouldn't it? And hey, 2 for 1. We'll let you keep the straw. You can have your squat truck at 4 inches or 8 inches or whatever it is, right? The fine is testicles. You put your 2 testicles in the box, you can do whatever you want to the truck. Fair? I think so. And I tell you what, once you're a eunuch, you understand what it is to be supportive. Let me just. Anybody in the original King's Court in the medieval times and previous, right, where they would eunuch all the guards, so they, all the concubine guards, right, so that they wouldn't be tempted. Yeah, they learned what it was to be supportive real quick. So yeah, maybe that's the option. You make it so appealing to their sense of immediate narcissism, right? We'll squat your truck for you, and put the big chrome exhaust things that stick up behind the bed, and we'll put fancy spinner wheels and blinky lights and all kinds of cool stuff. We will make it the most obnoxious vehicle ever to hit the road, with 700 different types of headlights ranging from amber to bright blue, and it only costs you your testicles. I think that's perfect. Solves all the problems, right? The narcissistic weirdos get to have their absolutely insane vehicles, and we're guaranteed they won't breed. I think that's fair. Now, pivoting in a way, running some PSAs that popped up recently, one of which is a actual something to relate to and made it difficult to listen to, actually, is the girl talking about having her suitcase moving from foster home to foster home. I've known these people, and it's heartbreaking. The thing is, the truth is, when they're moved from one foster home to the next, the environment is usually so horrible that they don't get a suitcase, they get a couple of trash bags. That's why just about every year around Christmas time, you know, there's a push, and I think I pushed it last year as well, to not to dig into your closet and get a nice suitcase and let one of these kids have it. Because even though the foster system may not be the most wonderful situation in the world, they shouldn't have to drag their belongings around from crib to crib in a hefty. I mean, the kid's already facing the worst of possible circumstances, and they're going to show up at the new house with the other foster kids with a trash bag with their clothes in it. The fact that we even have adoption rates at this level is just painful. And I think we can do better than that. Many ways we could do better than that. First of all, when looking to your slate of candidates, look for those signs of narcissism. Look for those signs of actual leadership and representation outside of politics. You know, find out who they are. Shows like All Things Brunswick took the time to bring those people on. And a couple of them were very nervous and soft-spoken. And I felt more for them as an as a more reasonable representative than some of the people who already knew their name and were all boisterous and blah, blah, blah. But hey, that's my criterion, because I want to be represented by somebody who's actually a mature adult who has shown leadership and representation qualities in their own life. Not just in the month or so before election. Oh, look, I'm a wonderful person. I kiss babies. I'm a good person. No, I want to see it in a track record. I want to see a consistent application of this type of support. If you were failed on a reality show and then decide you want to be a legislator because you have no other marketable skill, that shows me automatically that your entire career path has been nothing but pursuing narcissism. And that's not what we need representing and leading our community. Yes, we have an election coming up. This one is a primary. You know, in North Carolina, culminates next week, I think, right? 5 days. And then we have a real election, the midterm election. And this is our opportunity to send a message, not just to Washington, but to Raleigh, to all the states, to all the counties, to all the cities, that we, as a people, are paying attention to who you are, what you say, and we're not buying it. We're not putting up with it. We have had enough. Maybe you're not like me. Maybe you prefer to have narcissistic, ineffective people representing you. That's fine. If you think that one person holds all the answers to America's woes, I feel for you, bro. Because I don't think that's entirely accurate of what's happening in the nation that I'm living in. And most of the representatives I see are not representatives. They're narcissistic, self-serving, all the way across the board. And I think one of the greatest examples of that was one of the journalists that was following the money. And he pointed out in Congress how so many people on such tiny little salaries and very little experience are actually making more money than God while supposedly representing us. Oh my goodness, I think that heralds the arrival of my friend I have not seen in nearly a week. Is this my friend Mr. Andrew Donaldson?
You're lucky you're getting me at all the way my day's going. So just you get what you get and you don't pitch a fit.
I am not. I'm actually quite, anyway. Welcome back.
I liked your little spiel on serving there. No, I'm slam busy. I'm actually going out of town today for the rest of the week. So, yeah, it's catch as catch can today. I've already been had to take the dog to the Borders and had to do a couple of errands and had a kid get hurt last night and had to do an ER trip, and it's been run. So,
well, that's what it is.
Sorry, I wasn't on for longer today, but this is what you get. So.
Well, you were being supportive in your family, something that a lot of our representatives don't seem to understand. What you got on that?
I managed to drive to Southern Pines and back, downtown Fayetteville and back, and out to Parkton and back this morning, and I have not got a DUI yet.
You're doing better than
unlike some other people.
Yep, and that was I'm still not sure that story just seems to be entirely too convenient.
My first question anytime somebody's going somewhere at 1:45 in the morning is where were you going and why?
Where were you leaving?
I don't buy this cover story one bit. It makes no sense, but we will see what as it develops. Obviously, he wants this to go away as is. We will see.
Yeah, and that doesn't, it seems that anytime you evoke that type of sympathy card, it's generally more of a narcissistic response than it is a supportive person would be able to say, yeah, whoops.
I mean, is it too much to hope there's body cam footage of him pulling the, do you know who I am? Because those are always fun when people go with, do you know who I am? Which, by the way, if you ever have to ask, do you know who I am, then the obvious, it's a self-answering question.
Yeah, I would think.
But yeah, I'm hoping for some body cam footage of that. But here's what I do in these circumstances. Find out, because it tells you exactly where they were pulled over, right? So just Google map it, look at where they're at, look at the time of the day they're there, and then start working backwards to why they're there. And then you'll usually start getting to some other questions that usually poke holes into the cover story, which is exactly what happens here if you spend 2 seconds or if you have a familiarity with Wilmington and how Wilmington's laid out, and you know where this individual lives and where he said he was. This story doesn't smell right, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not alone on that one. It just seemed like so much of this reminds me of the high school excuses we have heard for not having homework or being late to class or absent from class.
Yeah, the thing about it is it's really hard to hide what you're doing at 1:45 in the morning, especially when the cops pull you over.
Yeah. Now,
all right.
I continue. I'm still like processing coffee.
No, I'm done with that. I'm done with that because I'm sick of these people.
Okay.
Like, dude, I was a fall down alcoholic and I managed not to get a DUI because I was smart enough to not freaking drive. Like, it's not that hard to not get a DUI. There is zero excuse to ever get a DUI.
I'm older than you. I've never had one.
None. Yeah, I mean, you're a stark raving hippie. Like, there is zero excuse. I have zero sympathy.
Oh, that's when.
Well, I don't care. I'm sorry. I hate to be that guy, but there is zero excuse. Nobody made you drink. Nobody made you get in a car. Nobody made you had poor planning.
Oh,
I
wait,
have zero.
we
I have
did-
zero. I have zero tolerance for DUI. Zero, because there's no excuse for them.
So why do we have drive-through liquor barns?
So you can take it home and get drunk like a grown adult.
But you're going to open it on the way home. It's almost like French fries when you drive through McDonald's. There's no way you're going to
That's
make it
a you
home without
problem.
grabbing a French fry or two.
That's a you problem.
Well, not me. I've never had that problem.
Well, I know not you. But the proxy of the story as you laid it out. That's a you problem. So you can't control yourself. That's not my fault. That's not my problem. Well, people are gonna open it and drink it. That's their problem. That's their fault.
And that means that
That's
we've
their
come
fault.
into the realm of personal responsibility, which seems to, I don't know.
I'm a personal responsibility absolutist.
Absolutely.
If it was somebody on the street, if it was a man walking by a woman and he just reaches out and gropes her and says, "I couldn't help it," we wouldn't tolerate that. Well, some people do, especially if they support certain presidential folks. But if we don't tolerate that, but then we turn around and go, "Well, he couldn't help it but drink," and no, people get killed with this. People's lives get ruined with this. You are taking a 4,000 pound vehicle and turning it into a killing machine with a drunk behind it, and I don't care that you couldn't control yourself. You're liable. Don't do it.
Yep.
This is one of those things where you turn down the noise buzzwords we talk about in politics. Apply it here. Turn the noise down. There's never an excuse to drive drunk, period. Because nobody made you get drunk. Nobody told you needed to drink. You didn't have to drink, by the way. Just don't drink. Sorry.
That's pretty
Nobody
easy.
made you drink. Don't drink. If you're going to drink, have some kind of plan to get where you're going. You can't walk across freaking Oleander without getting hit by an Uber in Wilmington. There's so many of them things now. Call an Uber. Like you can use an app on your phone to get a ride now. There is, and by the way, most of them have. There's a lot of places where if you call them and tell them you're drunk, they'll defer payment and things like this, or give you a rate or whatever. You can even do that a lot of places. Like there is zero excuse. He should resign now, not after breakfast, not tomorrow, now. You should resign. You're unfit for office. You can't control yourself. I don't care. Go away. Be gone with you. How's that for a take?
I'm way up on that. And then a pivot earlier on the support issue. I wanted to get your opinion on how you would identify or value the support role of a representative. For example, like the AOCs and the Boberts and the MTGs are more narcissistic, self-centered, look at me people rather than the support people who have actually, like the guy in the rotunda after the events on January 6th who was down there picking up the trash, sweeping up the floor and cleaning up his sacred hallowed halls.
Yeah.
Do you find a difference, or how would you?
So are you going to be? Let's put it this way. By the way, I thought you're supportive. That was one of the best radio segments you've ever done.
Cool.
That was fantastic. You need to clip that one and put it out on the social media, please. Give you a little homework for today. Once you get your nap in from being up all night, you need to clip that one, put it out on the social media. That's some of the best radio we've done for a long time. Good job.
Well, thank you.
Are you going to be a supportive person, or are you going to be an agitator? Now there's value in being there's value in being an agitator. It's in and of itself. There's nothing wrong with that. But if that's all you're doing, you're never accomplishing anything. You're just creating chaos around yourself.
And I think
Somebody
Dr.
that's
Cahoon
supportive
had a good point on that yesterday. That's what tenure is about. Is that he's educated to be able to say the unpopular things.
If you tenure the right people,
right?
If you tenure an agitator, you just institutionalized chaos.
Oh wait, didn't we do that on the last administration? I could be wrong.
Look, here's the deal. You need agitators in society, but you can only have so many of them, or nothing, because you need to keep things stirring. You don't want things to get, you don't want things getting, placid where nothing's going on. But at the same time, if everybody's all they're doing is agitating, now you're just churning water and not getting anything accomplished.
Okay.
You understand the difference?
A little bit, yeah. Now, is this identifiable? Like when we have a whole slate of candidates?
Yes. And yes, it's easily identifiable.
Can you do it at the candidate level, like when they're doing this "I'm a wonderful person, vote for me"?
Sure. What's their record?
That
Do they have a record to bring? If once they're like this is why I can't. A bunch of our conservative friends are about to get really, really mad. Just sit down, take a deep breath. You're gonna be okay. This is why I can't stand Rand Paul. Senator Rand Paul. Been in Congress for 12, 13 years.
Relatively
I tell
young.
people just cheerlead this guy, especially our libertarian. I like, what's he accomplished? Well, no, that's a speech. What has he accomplished? Well, he did it. No. That's a speech. That's words. What has he accomplished? Well, and it'll always get back to, well, he agitates. Okay. That's not his job. His job is to push legislation. Why has it? And they're like, well, the whole system's against it. Wait a minute. He's elected. He's in a team sport. Why hasn't he built any coalitions? Why hasn't he built relationships to get things done? Why is he always that one guy that's always the contrarian so he can put a video out and fundraise on it? He's an agitator. He's not a legislator.
He's a grifter.
He's not a supporter. He's not. I think grifting's too harsh because I think he really does believe this stuff. I wouldn't go that far.
Oh, okay.
But
Fair enough.
he's not. He never gets. But you cannot name me a legislative accomplishment of Rand Paul. Well, he puts out his list every year of all the government weight. Yeah, I can do that from my computer. I got Google too.
And I would trust somebody who's not in government to do it.
You don't need him to do that for you. It's convenient for you. So now we're going to get into a realm. If you support an agitator, why do you support an agitator? Because it makes your own agitation convenient and they can do it and do all the dirty work and you can just sit back and cheerlead.
Okay.
Because what the truth is do you want to be an agitator or do you want to be a facilitator? I want to be a facilitator. I want to get crap done. Which means I have a low patience for agitators. I have a respect for them because you do need them. Because they keep, they push you. You need to be pushed. You need to be challenged. We need some agitators. But you better have a whole bunch of facilitators surrounding them. The 96 Bulls, the 96-97 Chicago Bulls is kind of considered one of the best NBA teams of all time. They had Dennis Rodman, one of the all-time agitators. He was on other teams. He got coaches fired. He got people fined. He was out of control. Why did he work on that team? He was surrounded by facilitators. So you had, and having the one agitator put them over the top to being great. You understand the difference?
I think
But when
so.
you have an agitator by himself, all you've got is a chaos bomb, and you don't get anything done. And then you get him, wearing a wedding dress and marrying himself and all this craziness. You have to surround agitators with facilitators. What we have in Congress now is you have a bunch of, there was a news story today, you talked about the squad. There was a news story today about how the frontline Democrats in Congress are panicking because they're all going to get thrown out of Congress here in a couple months. And leadership will not put forward some bipartisan type legislation that would easily pass because they're scared to death of the squad going on TV and lambasting them. Agitating. Agitating. The agitators are holding the whole thing. They're holding Congress hostage, basically. Both parties. Let's not let the Republic. They got their own squad idiots, which we have detailed in great detail. Agitators. Are you going to be an agitator or a facilitator? Agitators get a lot of press. Agitators are hamsters on the wheels. They look like they're exerting effort. They look like they're doing a lot. They're just hamsters spinning a wheel. They're not doing anything. The facilitators are where it's at.
And it's the people, and I wish I could remember the guy's name, that have the character to where they are actually on their hands and knees in the rotunda, picking up after the event.
Yeah. We just talked about this with Gabby Hoffman when she was on her tailback beginning of the last week with conservation. I have some friends in DC that are uber progressive, like hardcore environmentalist progressive, right? Way more than I am. I listen to their opinion, though. You know why? Because I also see their social media. They go down to the Potomac River and clean that thing up once a month.
Just like Cape Fear River Watch. These are people
Yeah,
dedicated.
they go down. So when that individual comes at me with some environmental stuff, even when I know I'm going to disagree with them, I listen to them because I respect the fact that they put their money where their mouth is. They're not just out here spouting about, well, why don't you poors all go buy a $50,000 electric car like this idiot on Twitter I got into it with this morning. Accept high gas prices or go buy an electric vehicle. Well, people that can't afford $5 gas can't afford a $50,000 electric vehicle, you idiots. Quit talking down to people. But
that's what condescending is.
That's condescending. If you're out cleaning the river up and then you come to me and go, hey, we got environmental problems where the river ain't clean, and I know you're down there cleaning it yourself, now you got some moral authority where I owe it to you to hear you out. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. That's the respect earned. And that seems to be lost in the 21st century, certainly along the lines of support, that if there isn't a understanding of their collective process, that we are all a part of this thing.
I'll give you this, and then we got to get out of here because I got stuff to do, and your program's over. Seriously, go clip that service piece, get it out on social media. I'll promote it. That was really good.
Well, thank you.
There's a candidate up in West Virginia who was in the House of Delegates. He moved. He was running for a Senate seat. He's a young guy. He basically came out of college and ran for a House of Delegates seat and won because he was in a heavily Republican district, and there was just some advantages built into it. But he walked out of college and immediately ran for office and got elected office. Says all the right things. Most of his politics, I agree with him on. Almost all. And I was very critical of this individual a couple of years ago because of something. I got a private message. All right, I'm going to keep this private, but I'm going to tell you why, because it fits this, and it's been a couple of years now. Why are you bashing this person? You agree with him on almost everything. Isn't this exactly who you want in office because he agrees with you? That's the gist of the message.
Okay.
And I told him, that's the problem right there.
It's not an echo
whether
chamber.
I agree with him or not. When you go in for heart surgery, when I was laying on the table dying at Duke, and they're like, if we don't get you in heart surgery within the next couple of minutes, you're dead. Like, they're running with the gurney kind of stuff. Okay. Do you think I cared whether I agreed with the heart surgeon about anything? In fact, he has the worst bedside manner. Dr. Lynn, God bless you, if you're listening. Sorry what I'm about to say. Has the worst bedside manner of any doctor I've ever seen in my life. Terrible. He's about as cuddly as a Brillo pad that's rusted out, that's stuck on the end of a rusty fishing knife that's jammed up places of your orifice that you don't want it.
Hey,
that's what dealing with this guy's like. He's horrible. He's a jerk.
But he's also a phenomenal heart surgeon.
He's one of the best cardiothoracic surgeons in the world, and he saved my life twice.
See, this is sounding like
this is the
Dr.
guy. This is the
Strange.
dude that walks in. This is the dude that walks in your hospital bed, and he's like, "I've never had a patient die of pain. Deal with the pain." This kind of stuff.
That's my dad.
But I don't. But I don't care, because I was like, can you get my heart working so I don't die at 36 years old age? That would be great. Can you please facilitate that for me?
That would be a good start.
We got to get over this thing of agreeing with people. Oh, I agree with him, so therefore he's fit for office. I said, he's unfit for office. I said, and he may be a nice guy. I was like, everything he's telling me, though, he only knows about it from reading. He has zero life experience. He grew up privileged. I know we overuse that word, but he did. He grew up, upper middle class to wealthy, depending on your perspective. He grew up rich. He went to a very expensive small private university, and he immediately ran for office because he can say all the right things because he's read all the right books, and he's been in that ecosystem. And he's going to make a very long career in the state of West Virginia in politics, running for offices without actually having to accomplish anything himself. No, you're not fit for office. It's not that you don't know the right things. It's not, and this person was flummoxed because, you agree with him. I was like, I agree with him. But what experience does he have to filter that agreement through? What's he going to do in a crisis? Because he's never had a crisis in his whole life. How's he going to get somebody that doesn't agree with him to agree with him? Because he's never had to do a customer service job where he's gotten yelled at for 10 minutes over something that's not his fault. He's never had to work manual labor. He's never been in the military. He has zero life experience to bring to the role of being an elected leader in legislature. He has no business being there.
But he knows how to tie a full Windsor knot in his tie.
I mean, and this person got mad, and we fell out, kind of fell out over it. And I'm like, I don't care. They're not fit for office. They can't do the job. They don't have any experience to do the job. And legislating, or the presidency, or the Senate, or city council or a mayor or pick whatever is not supposed to be on the job training.
Like being a pilot.
Because if you screw it up, you're screwing up people's lives. We're talking tomorrow's show. We're talking about the baby formula shortage.
Okay.
Spoiler alert: there's some government bureaucratic malfeasance involved.
No.
We'll talk about it tomorrow.
No.
Well, maybe it was a bad idea to make the preferred program for all of WIC in the entire country one manufacturer, and then when the FDA shuts down the factory, that one manufacturer, it creates a baby food shortage. You idiots. Anyway, we'll talk about it on
all the eggs in one basket.
Yeah, because Abbott had the preferred contract for WIC. So guess what all the other companies do? They change their production because they don't have that government contract. They can't compete with that.
Now they can.
Anyway, we'll talk about it on tomorrow's show.
The competition got a lot quicker.
Yep, I got to go. We will, today's Hotel is fantastic. Sarah Stook talking about the sexy side of the presidents. You do not want to miss this interview. It is fun.
It is hilarious.
It's a little disturbing in a couple places.
All the way back to 1776, in fact.
There are two presidents that we know of that nicknamed their other president. We'll leave it at that. One nicknamed it Jumbo, and the other one nicknamed it Jerry. You will be surprised. One, most people will probably guess. The other one, I think they'll be surprised.
And what's interesting is it's a Brit lady that's ripping through our presidents.
Oh, yeah, she's brilliant, isn't she? Isn't she great?
She is, and it's fun hearing an English accent ripping into American. It was the other way around in Boston back in 1700. So
people have been talking about grooming. We have at least two presidents who were verifiable groomers. We had at least one who groomed. He was joking about marrying this girl when she was like 6 years old, and then he did when he was in his 60s. Like, just creepy stuff.
Just opening the door for Elvis.
Yeah, do not miss this. Well, I mean, at least she was a teenager. I mean, my God. Do not miss this interview. It is so much fun. We also talk about politics. We talk about Hong Kong. Hadn't mentioned Hong Kong in a while. China just cracked down on one of the most visible dissidents in Hong Kong. He's the former Archbishop of Hong Kong. The reason he's former is because he's retired, because he's 90 years old, and they just arrested him as being a threat to the state.
Oh, he's going to be such a direct threat to the state. Oh my goodness.
He is vicious with his tongue. I will give them that, but they deserve it. So we talk about Hong Kong a little bit. Great story to end the show on. There's a tradition in the NFL when a rookie comes in, if they want the number that a veteran has, they got to cough up for it. And these two guys between themselves figured out a way to send a bunch of money to charity over it. So make sure you check that out. Great Herd Tell today. Tomorrow's even better. Because I'm not going to be on here, I'm going to be on the road. I'm actually getting ready to send it to you here in about an hour. I'm getting ready to go and finish editing it up.
All right.
One of our favorite guests. Hold on, I'm gagging.
I can't pronounce half the people you have as guests either.
That's okay. I can't either. But we're going to talk Elon Musk tomorrow.
Oh.
A lot of noise about Elon Musk, Twitter. We're going to turn down the noise on it and talk about Elon Musk tomorrow. Do not miss that one. And of course, by the way, one of our friends that's been a guest on the program stood for election, had their primary. We'll update you on that. Good stuff on Herd Tell. We've had this is our biggest week on the podcast side, listener wise, by a lot.
Nice.
Numbers are through the roof. Keep listening. You guys are doing great. We appreciate it so much. Make sure you share it on your social media. And my friend, I will see you on Monday.
Have a great time this weekend. Gesundheit.
Yep. I'm going to eat my biscuit now. We'll talk to you tomorrow, bud.
And we will see you either tomorrow or when you get back with all the lovely stories of being on the road.
Yeah. My kids graduating high school, so it's 4 days of family. I literally have an itinerary for the next 4 days, everything I'm going to be doing. It's going to be nuts. But good, happy times. So talk soon, my friend.
Keep supporting them, man, and I will talk to you as soon as you can.
Yes, sir.
Take care. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you can tell, we're reaching the end of another broadcast morning. So we're going to end the Asylum. We're going to close the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad, right here on the Big Talker Network. So please, if you would, go visit the website, send us an email with any compliments, questions, concerns, comments, or critiques you may have so that we can better serve you, our listeners. So with that in mind, we will see you really, really soon. Like tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. Mouse, where did you go? God, I hate Windows. All right, here we go. Bye. Still didn't work. Come on.
Keeping Leland informed. The Big Talker 106.7 FM WFBT, Carolina Beach.
Folks, we all know ongoing road construction and traffic can weigh heavy on your vehicle. Since 2006, O'Leary's Automotive Repair has provided comprehensive repair services at affordable prices to get you back on the road in no time. Their ASE certified technicians will help you find a cost-effective repair and maintenance alternatives. O'Leary's has multiple locations in the area in Hampstead, Leland, the Myrtle Grove area, Ogden, and Wrightsboro. O'Leary's Automotive Repair, a trusted, locally owned business since 2006.
Hello and welcome to Consumer Choice Radio, broadcasting from the center of the office here in Central Europe. I'm one half of your host, Yael Ossowski. Things are going well here in Vienna, Austria. We've got some nice weather that's finally peaked out. We got a lot of things that are happening in the news, but I am very, very excited for this program. I'm joined by my colleague here at the Consumer Choice Center. We're speaking with Anna Runashvili. Anna, how goes it?
Hi, Yael. I'm so happy to be here today. It goes well, I guess. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same about Georgian weather. It's been raining for a whole week, and it's expected to be like that throughout the next week too. So I'm jealous of
you're
your
coming
shiny
to us
weather.
from Tbilisi, Georgia. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. Tbilisi, Georgia.
So are you right in Tbilisi, or are you in a suburb and you just say Tbilisi, or how does that work?
No, no. I live in Tbilisi, one of the central parts of the city, but I'm not originally from there, so I'm not gonna lie that I'm native Tbilisian.
No, it's cool. It's cool. Okay, good. And for a lot of listeners of this program, by the way, you guys can go and listen to the past shows and archives over there in consumerchoiceradio.com. The podcast version on Podcasting 2.0. I know I talk a lot about that. Anna, does the Podcasting 2.0 thing sound exciting, or does it sound a bit too complicated to you?
It's exciting. I'm still not quite sure what is that, but